Good morning. My name is Andrew Watkins. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a worship associate of this congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cleveland. As I welcome you today, I want to begin by acknowledging that we are gathering on the original lands of the Erie, the Haudenosaunee, and Nishinabek peoples, also known as the Three Fires Council. We recognize the need to learn more about these complex and sometimes painful histories, to care for the land we inhabit, and to show respect to the diverse peoples and cultures who preceded us, as well as those of us who gather here now. Our congregation continues to work to build relationships with the Lake Erie Native American Council as ways of living into these words. It's good to be with you this morning. Welcome. We come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, different ages, and different backgrounds. Welcome. We come here for different reasons: to find community, to seek spiritual and personal truths, to question, to nurture heart and soul, to be nurtured, to explore new ideas, to find comfort, and perhaps to find the answers to some of our bigger questions. We hope you will find comfort, connection, challenge, and love here. Whatever your age, young or old or somewhere between, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, know that you are welcome here. We especially welcome any guests who are worshiping with us for the first time today, either here with us physically or joining us in the cyber world. If you're interested in more information on who we are, we invite you to fill out one of the guest racks and the guest cards in the pew racks in front of you. You can place that card in the offering plate when it comes around later in the service, and we'll be able to reach out to you and answer any questions you might have about us. If you're watching from an internet platform, you can go to our website, ucleveland.org, or send us an email. We are about to enter into sacred space. Please take a moment to silence your phones or any other electronics that beep. Our chalice lighter today is Lisa Hathaway. And as we light our chalice, please join me in reciting the words of our congregational covenant, which can be found in the yellow cards in the pew rack in front of you. We cultivate trust with one another by celebrating differences, honoring boundaries, and offering compassion and care. We listen to each other deeply with curiosity and wonder. We speak for ourselves without need to defend ourselves or persuade each other. We create safe and brave space for healthy conflict, creativity, and fun. We reconcile through forgiving and making amends when we hurt one another.
For our call to worship, I share these words from Reverend Scott Tayler. Let us turn inward in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Sometimes the world outside us can be so loud, making it hard to hear those voices we once knew so well, voices that once knew us so well. And so to silence we turn, to listen for the echoes of memories that make us whole, the pain of others that reawakens our hearts, and the beauty of this wildly generous world that wants us back. This is the attention that saves us, heals us, opens us, expands us. So, friends, in the stillness of this space, let us not just listen for clarity and guidance, but to become larger. Those voices whispering from deep within are not just calling us home, they are home. We must remember this. What we give our attention to is what we become. Yes, sometimes the world outside us can be so loud, leaving us lost. But the quiet always remains, waiting and willing to be our companion, gently calling us to shift our attention and reclaim ourselves. In a moment, we're going to sing number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath. But first, I invite you to greet those around you. Hi, Andrew. Good to see you. So funny to me, like, I first looked out there,
it's like
people start showing up,
where
right?
do y'all come from?
Right.
Yep. Well, and I always find the seating pattern interesting too. It's like,
Yes.
okay, this side gets more full, and then, we have a greeter.
Good morning.
What is that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's going on next Saturday. I didn't really want to make that trip.
It's like, too late. Well, it's actually not next Saturday. It's the one after that. Maybe we should forget about it before then. It's like the 31st, right?
21st. It's next Saturday.
I thought it was like the 31st.
No.
Well then,
No,
yeah.
it is next Saturday. Andrew,
Okay.
thanks.
Fine, whatever.
It's what? Yeah. I love this one, obviously. Since I chose it.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though the fate I made my way, still with hope I needing stay. If they ask what I do, tell them I said yes to life. During this month, we are in the middle of our stewardship campaign, and to talk about why we are so grateful to be part of this congregation, I invite Kathleen Binnick.
Good morning. Mark and I began attending this services here when our son was 2 years old. He's now 46. That was the first year I taught Sunday school. We attended for a number of years before joining, but we were always pledging friends. We are still here, and we are still pledging because this is our community. Since we've been here a long time, we've been involved in many ways, and if you really want all the details, see us in coffee hour. Some of the activities we currently enjoy are choir, small groups, and auction. At the moment, we belong to 2 small groups together, and Mark and I each belong to one individually. For years, we have offered events for the auction, and we have bid and attended other events that others have offered. I'm not sure how we determine our pledge, but I would say, think about the community. Think about what the community gives to you. Think about what the community means to you. Then think about the expenses we have to cover to maintain this community. After that, come up with a pledge. Then try to give a little bit more. On a personal note, our son was raised in this church, and before we were going to meet his future wife for the first time, he said, "You'll like her, Mom. She's a Unitarian." David, Ruth, and our granddaughter, Ellie, attend First Unitarian, Portland, Oregon. This community is important to us and worth our support, not just for today, but for the future. Please pledge as generously as you are able. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Each week we take a pause to recognize those joys and concerns that we would like to share with this community. We have this book that sits up in the front with our joys and concerns, water and stones. I'll share with you what people have written for today. Horace Reese died last night peacefully at home with his daughter Marcy by his side. He was 98 years old, a longtime member of First U. He brought our relationships with Eastview Church and gospel music to our congregation. Prayers and compassion for those living through unspeakable trauma in the Middle East. Susan Alcorn suffered a recent fall and is currently receiving hospice at home, surrounded by excellent care and loving family. She prefers no visitors or phone calls. She is grateful for this caring community. Susan Nesbitt lets us know that her 26th anniversary of an aggressive breast cancer is tomorrow. We're so glad that you are still with us, Susan. So grateful to be in a congregation where you can hear the choir practice, an excellent something on Alzheimer's disease and the smell of the Buddhist incense all at the same time. Oh, excellent lecture on Alzheimer's. So you can walk in, you can hear the choir rehearsing, listen to a lecture on Alzheimer's, and smell the Buddhist incense all at the same time. And now while the choir sings, I invite you to come forward and put any stones in the Joys and Concerns bowl as you are moved to do so. If you're with us online, feel free to write in the comments there as well. manager will place a stone to recognize all of those joys and concerns shared online, and a final stone for all of those joys and concerns that remain without words in the quiet sanctuary of our hearts.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Jenny Papp. I am the director of, I don't know, I fumble every week. Sorry. Not like I can just, it's a minister, that's a short word. You can say minister, but no. I am the director of Lifespan Faith Development for this congregation. And my pronouns are she and they. Today, I have an idea, a short idea I want to share with you from writer and activist Adrienne Marie Brown. She writes about how the way we pay attention to things shapes the way we experience the world. And she says something like this: if you put all your attention on suffering, you will see suffering everywhere. Joy and laughter will come, but they will just be a distraction. But if you put your attention on joy, connection, and love, then you'll start to notice those things everywhere as well. And then she says something very important. Even when we pay attention to joy, our hearts will still break sometimes. Grief is just part of being human. But love and wonder are everywhere if we notice them. So this is my attention frame. It's an object lesson, right? That's what it says. It's an object. We have an attention frame. So when we look through a frame like this, we can maybe focus on what is just in between that frame, what's in there. We can focus. From those of you who remember pulling a camera up to your face and focusing on something, or even on our iPhones when we zoom in or out, we put a focus, okay? Let's try this together. Now, it took me a while to figure out how to do the rectangle and not a triangle, but either way, whatever you figure out, make a frame for yourself. And I want you to look around, kind of close the other eye, and just look through that frame. And look around, and I want you to look for things in your eyes or mind's eye that are troubling. What's troubling? Maybe you think about war, maybe climate change, loneliness, about that. There are real hurts in the world. And when we look for them, we can see them. Shake out your frame. Let's try a different one. Maybe you go for the triangle this time, okay? Try a different frame. I want you to look around this time, and I want you to focus on what you see that brings joy or happiness. Maybe someone smiling. Maybe something beautiful. Maybe the music that you've heard and you know you will hear coming into the room. Focus on that. Those things are real too. In Unitarian Universalism, we talk about choosing love and working for justice. The sorrow doesn't disappear. The world still has hard things in it. Our hearts still break sometimes. But they can also grow so wide with love. Our attention is really, really powerful. When we practice what we practice, there's that word practice. What we practice, noticing, begins to shape how we move through the world. What if the practice of noticing or redirecting our focus is a spiritual practice too? You have to keep doing it, just like the piano. So let's wonder together this week. I wonder, can you be more aware of your focus? What can you tell yourself so that you can remember to shift it if you need to? Who helps you remember that love is always there? Look for those people. And how can noticing joy and love and connection help you, help all of us, care for those hurts in the world? So Adrienne Marie Brown winds up the statement I was sharing with you with, your heart will still break. You will know grief. But you will find that a reasonable cost for the random abundance of miracles and the soft, wild rhythms of love. Keep your lenses handy and pay attention and readjust.
Each week, we ask for financial contributions to lift up and support the work of groups and organizations that are living out our values as a congregation. Our offering partner today is our own Ministry for Earth. From pollinator gardens and apple orchards to recycling efforts and solar arrays, from a youth-led Milwaukee forest to green sanctuary efforts, UUCC's Ministry for Earth is at the vanguard of our climate justice work. It inspires our congregation to live in a way that is environmentally responsible, just, and science-based, so that we do our part to mitigate the effects of climate change on our community and the world, and serves as a model of resiliency and hope in facing the challenge of the future. To support the important work of our Ministry for Earth, I encourage you to give generously and within your means as the offering plate are passed around, through Zelle on your bank app, or through Cash App with the cash tag $UUCC 44122. Please be sure to put today's date, March 15th, 2026, and Ministry for Earth in the for line of the app.
here's what a few other people had to say about paying attention. My experience is what I agree to attend to. Only those items which I notice shape my mind. William James.
Your experience being alive consists of nothing other than the sum of everything to which you pay attention. At the end of your life, looking back, whatever compelled your attention from moment to moment is simply what your life will have been. So when you pay attention to something you don't especially value, it's not an exaggeration to say that you're paying with your life. Oliver Berkman.
When we cede control of our attention, we cede more than what we are looking at now. We cede, to some degree, control over what we will care about tomorrow. Ezra Klein.
Your attention is like a combination spotlight and vacuum cleaner. It highlights what it lands on and then sucks it into your brain, for better or worse. Dr. Rick Hansen.
Our attention is so valuable and so meaningful that selfish people will spend millions, if not billions, of dollars to keep it. What happens when we don't let them? What happens when we pay attention to the outside world when it matters, then spend the rest of it focusing on our communities and the people and causes for whom we can create change? Where might we shine our lights during this time? That's an excerpt from Soul Matters Music Resources Coordinator Adam Odell's Musical Musings. I can still hear the bell up here. There is no doubt that there are horrific events occurring around the world, terrible decisions being made by our politicians and other world leaders. When the news bulletins aren't focused on bombings, exportations, ICE raids, or shootings, they're full of reports about celebrities suing each other and behaving badly. It would be easy to go down the rabbit hole of despair and want to curl up in a ball and retreat from the whole mess. It's no wonder that many of those who deal with depression and anxiety or other mental health concerns are feeling triggered and exacerbated by these stressors. A bit ago, when Andrew and I shared some of the quotes that spoke to me when I was reviewing the resources for this month's theme of paying attention, we ended with one that I felt really captured my thoughts inspiring this service today. With each packet, there is a section introduced by the Music Resources Coordinator, Adam Odell. While he was focusing on the impact of music and how it can speak to people on another level, I excerpted a section that I found had broader resonance, and I'm going to read it again. Our attention is so valuable and so meaningful that selfish people will spend millions, if not billions, of dollars to keep it. What happens when we don't let them? What happens when we pay attention to the outside world when it matters, then spend the rest of it focusing on our communities and the people and causes for whom we can create change? What might we shine our lights on during this time? I have a monthly Zoom call with my sisters and my sister and three brothers. On our last call, my brother Dave was saying how he and my sister-in-law have been attending protests most weekends. They're getting to know the other regular protesters and developing a nice community. He said he finds comfort in the sense of camaraderie and the feeling that he's at least doing something to counter the insanity. My takeaway from his sharing this is the observation that by focusing on action, positive messaging, and the community, he can reclaim some of the power and joy that has been compromised by much of what's going on. It prevents him from feeling isolated. My sister-in-law makes calls daily to one representative or another and knows most of the aides by name now. They know who she is when she calls. Oh, hi, Joyce. My brother also does a lot of other things that bring him joy and connection. Now retired, he makes intermittent hikes along the Appalachian Trail, sometimes meeting up with trail buddies he befriended when he did his initial 3-month hike. He plays in a jazz band and performs regularly at a UU Retreat Center in Maine, where my sister-in-law teaches ballroom and line dancing. Increasingly in demand, he seems everyone needs to find a little joy. He seems to have found the balance between paying attention to the outside world when it matters and spending the rest of his attention on the communities and people that matter to him. Last week, Reverend Rena and Reverend Christy talked about focusing on art and beauty as a form of respite and restoration. If you were here, you heard Jess Levy on fire about the good stuff we have to offer here at UUCC to those who have become cynical about religion. Every time that Karen or Mike plays, every time the choir sings, we are moved to experience a heightened state of joy, love, sadness, pride, commitment to community and justice, beauty, all of the feels. I don't know about you, but every week that I'm here, I'm inspired by somebody, moved by someone, and feel a sense of affinity with so many people here. When we greet one another during the service, when we sing together, when we bear witness as the beloved community places thoughtful stones in the Joys and Concerns bowl, when we give a shout out to our folks online, when we light our chalice, it fills me up. I feel blessed, lucky if you prefer, but really blessed. I don't watch news, listen to the radio, or follow rants on Facebook or other social media. I always hear about the big stuff from people I trust to know the important facts with more time than I have to filter through the nonsense. I vote in every election, no matter how small. Then I try to focus on our centering principle of love. I just try to connect with and love on people as much as I can. I am imperfect in this effort. I lose patience with the jerks I encounter, not always appreciating their inherent worth and dignity. I yell at my child. I lose focus on what is important. We talk about our faith principles as being aspirational, and this is true of my efforts as well. I can absolutely lose sight of what is really important. I can feel resentful, unappreciated, overwhelmed, and all the human emotions that get in the way of me being my best and most generous self. Having a community like this that lifts up the covenant that we do each week helps. Having a family that enjoys one another, loves one another, and plays together helps. These supports aid me in coming back around, making amends as needed, and remembering what's more important than what got me fired up to begin with. Fortunately, I have a job that allows me to do work that's consistent with my values. As a WIC dietitian, I literally provide women and children who may be at risk for food insecurity with access to nutritious food as well as other resources. I also teach water aerobics to an incredibly kind and feisty group of women who share stories, recommendations for books, restaurants, health tips, as well as support one another through surgeries, illness, deaths, job losses, and celebrating birthdays, weddings, new jobs, and much more. My role here as a commissioned lay minister, focusing on worship, facilitating small group ministry, is also an expression of what is important to me. I try to pay attention to what I need to know about what's going on in the world, figure out what I do and don't have control over, and then attend more closely to the things I want to become more impactful, more energized, more dominant in the world. I've often stated my belief that much violence and destruction is perpetrated by those who feel alienated, isolated, and disconnected. It's one of the reasons I think people say such hurtful and inflammatory things on social media. They can remove themselves from the impact of their vitriol because they don't experience the immediacy of the effect of it on actual people whom they may be in relationship with. So I focus on generating more connection, fostering more joy, and demonstrating as much empathy as I'm able to. I do find that often when I bring forth is reflected in those around me. I was at work the other day at my main clinic with coworkers, and we were sharing our excitement about the growth of that location as we'd been catching up. When my first client arrived, I asked how she was doing, and she countered with the same, and I said, "We're actually having a pretty joyful morning around here today." She was delighted, and I could see her face light up. Our energy seemed contagious throughout the day. I had had a rough parenting night the evening before and ended the day on a pretty grumpy note. It was a balm, restorative, to focus on opening to and sustaining a very different energy, and it carried into all my interactions that day. What are you paying attention to? Where are you shining your light? What do you want to generate, see more of in the world? Think about it. Last year sometime, I was at a meeting where we were instructed to think about a word or a phrase that would be a personal motto of sorts, an intention we might set for ourselves. The idea was we could write it on a sticky note, placed somewhere that we might see it every day. I decided to put it in as a daily task on my Google Calendar that would pop up each morning. Now, still, every day when I open my calendar to remind myself what's on for the day, I see vitality and joy. And on some level, it informs my focus for the day. It opens up the possibility for my mood, energy, and attention. I look for the joy. What if, instead of the newspaper headlines reporting the devastations going on around the world, or doom scrolling through Facebook, the first thing you did each day was consider your word or phrase, that which you want to see more of in the world or experience yourself, and that was what you used to center your day. You might be able to weather the rest of it with better perspective, more resilience. What would your words be? Will you put them on a sticky note on your bathroom mirror or refrigerator, in your calendar notes? I challenge you, if you go for coffee hour today, while you're making signs for the upcoming protest, share your motto with someone. I can't wait to hear what you'll be paying attention to in those intentional manifesting moments at work, at home, at protests, at church, at meetings, everywhere you can. It matters and makes a difference. You make a difference. I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and sing our closing hymn, number 128, For All That Is Our Life.
To
few announcements before we wrap things up. As we have in past years, at the beginning of this month, we started raising money to support the 8th graders at FDR for their trip in April to Washington, D.C. FDR just learned they were granted additional monies for the trip with grant money from Mackenzie Scott. This is great news, and many of you have generously donated already. Our contribution to the trip is now just t-shirts and snacks, a much lower amount of money. So if you would like your donation returned to you or wish to change the amount, see Lori Albright in Fellowship Hall after the service today. And she's waving her hand back there so you know who she is. After the service, members of the stewardship team will be in Fellowship Hall to answer questions about stewardship, and you can turn your pledge card into them too. And I'm sure if you forgot your pledge card, they probably have extras that they can help you with. I'm pretty sure. And always look at the weekly email blast that comes out and the calendar of things going on the back of your order of service as well to know what else is going on. And for our benediction, I bring you, again, the words that Jenny shared with you during our object lesson, words by Adrienne Marie Brown that bear repeating. Put your attention on suffering, which is constant and everywhere, and it's all you will see. Joy will come and laughter, but you'll find it brief, possibly a distraction. Put your attention on joy, being connected and feeling whole, and you will find it everywhere. Your heart will still break. You will know grief, but you will find it a reasonable cost for the random abundance of miracles and the soft, wild rhythms of love. Blessed be, amen.
Join me in reciting the words of our chalice extinguishing, which can be found on the yellow cards in your pew rack. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
been doing that my whole life.